Good afternoon. I'm Vinny Sheehan, and I'm the guy spearheading the Roman Gabriel Hall of Fame effort. Specifically, I manage the Twitter account. I also manage a Facebook page. And if you've been to either of the two, you would know that there's an astronomical amount of support from people that want to see Roman Gabriel finally inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The man's been waiting 38 years for the call. Now, based off of the news that came out of Canton, Ohio last week, the Hall of Fame committee is looking to induct 20 individuals for the Hall of Fame class of 2020. This is to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the NFL. Now, this still needs to be passed at the meeting on August 2nd, but 10 of the 20, they intend to be senior players. These are guys that haven't played in the NFL in 25 years or more. Unfortunately, Roman Gabriel falls under this category. And instead of worrying about or talking about why hasn't it happened, why Roman Gabriel hasn't gotten a call in 38 years, let's not even go there. Let's worry about the now. Roman Gabriel was one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play in NFL history. He was one of the faces of his sport in the 1960s and 70s, where he played for the LA Rams, and later in his career was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. Played 16 seasons in the NFL. With the LA Rams, he was one of the greatest quarterbacks in football. Won the '69 MVP award, where he was recognized as the greatest football player on the planet. He was a 4-time Pro Bowler, 3 times with the Rams, and once with the Eagles. Now, this was the golden age of quarterbacks, a lot of people like to say. And that could be the problem. There was just so many good QBs at the time. Roman was right there on the same level as guys like Johnny Unitas and Bart Starr, Fran Tarkenton, and Sonny Jurgensen. You know, just to give you an example, Terry Bradshaw, he made the Pro Bowl 3 times. You know, Sonny Jurgensen made the Pro Bowl 5 times. You know, before Roman had gotten the starting nod as the starting quarterback in '66 when George Allen had came to coach the Rams were a losing football team for 8 years in a row. Roman was a big part of that, of what turned them back into a winner. You know, 2-time All-Pro, led the Rams to 2 division championships. And, you know, there's a really good study out there. The 1967 MVP, a lot of people think Roman should have won it that season as well. It was given to Johnny Unitas after week 13. And in week 14, the season hadn't even ended yet. The Rams torched the Colts, you know, led by Gabriel, and they won the division that year. You know, and a lot of people think Roman had the better overall season. Broke Johnny Unitas's Ironman record. You know, Johnny started 88 consecutive games in a row, and Roman retired with that record, starting 89 games in a row. And let me remind you, you know, this was a different era of football. You know, nothing against today's game, but it was just a different game. You know, if you watch any tape or highlights, quarterbacks are running for their life during this time. You know, they're playing against some of the most feared defenses the league had ever seen. You know, defenses like the Purple People Eaters, the '69 Chiefs, defenses led by Dick Butkus and Mike Curtis. You know, I mentioned Mike Curtis. There was a world famous photograph out there of him. You know, he has Roman Gabriel in a headlock, and it looks like he's trying to rip his head off his shoulders. The broadcasters calling the game that day, they thought stuffing was going to pop out of Roman's body. That's how hard he hit him. And Mike, you know, after the game, they asked him, you know, Mike said he didn't hit him hard enough. Roman had gotten up, you know, and I guarantee you, knowing the player that Roman was, because in a time where quarterbacks were running for their life, Roman was running right at these guys. He was giving it right back. Guy that never ran out of bounds, never slid. I guarantee you he ran, you know, he gave it right back to Mike on that next play, you know, and he finished that game. That was kind of, you know, one of the toughest players the league had ever seen. You know, and that's, you know, it's not just about the statistics. Roman Gabriel was more to the game than just a statistic. You're talking about a guy that redefined the quarterback position. 6'5", 225 pounds. That didn't exist at this time. There was nothing like it. Guys like Ben Roethlisberger and Cam Newton. It all goes back to Roman, first of his kind. One of the strongest arms the league had ever seen. Where he was throwing touchdown passes, to guys like Bernie Casey and Jack Snow. Roman was a pioneer. He was the first Asian American to start at the quarterback position in the NFL. He was half Filipino and half Irish. And this was an early time in Asian American history where people weren't really thinking about things like that. But there's not an Asian American in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and that would be tremendous. That's one thing that really motivates me. People followed him across the country. It wasn't just LA Rams fans, the people that lived in LA. One of the things that motivates me is that people, reach out, thousands of people that I've encountered that ask the same question. Why isn't Roman Gabriel in the Hall of Fame? This man was on all the magazine covers. He was putting people in the seats. He was a childhood hero to thousands. There's a story of him, of Ronald Reagan, the former president, hanging a picture of Roman in his son's bedroom, that he had signed for Ronald Reagan's son. That was just the kind of guy Roman was. When you have people that are supporting you, not just your former teammates, but when you have a guy like Roger Staubach supporting you, one of the all-time great quarterbacks, Hall of Fame, Dallas Cowboy, who was playing against Roman and the Rams during those years. He signed off on Roman. And, Bob Lilly, another all-time great Cowboy, one of the greatest defenders in the history of the game, leader of the Doomsday Defense, the first Cowboy to ever be elected to the Hall of Fame. He backs Roman. He's written his letter of support on the behalf of Roman. Guy like Bob Brown, one of the greatest offensive linemen in league history. Eagles. He played for the Eagles, he played for the Rams, and he played for the Raiders, also Hall of Fame. He said, if any Hall of Fame voter wants to call me, I'd be happy to tell him who I support, and that's my former quarterback, Roman Gabriel. Another all-time, Ram defender, Hall of Famer, Jack Youngblood. He's given his thumbs up for Roman. One of the all-time great defenders. We're going to keep pushing forward. I'm going to do whatever it takes for my great friend Roman to get him into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I know everybody else that supports this cause is going to do whatever they can. There's one thing that really sticks out on me, and we've gotten Roman on a lot of podcast shows and radio shows and featured in different articles. We got him on the Talk of Fame network, and that's hosted by 3 Hall of Fame voters. And he was asked on the show if he thinks about a potential Hall of Fame snub over the years. And he doesn't think about it. That's not the kind of guy he is. He doesn't think about what could have been or things that he could go back and change in his life. That's not the kind of guy he is. He's very happy with his life. He's in every other Hall of Fame there is. Would he want to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Absolutely. I think he would dedicate it more to his supporters, to his fans, to his friends, to his family. That's the kind of guy he is. When he won the 1969 MVP, he dedicated it to his teammates. Again, that's just the kind of guy he is. Something that really just stuck out to me, though, on the Talk of Fame show, he said, it took my great friend Kenny Stabler to die to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That puts things into perspective. For Roman to not be alive to receive that type of recognition on football's biggest stage, biggest platform, to accept football immortality, to not be alive to see that would be an absolute travesty, would be very unfortunate. The committee's going to vote August 2nd. We're going to do whatever it takes. We appreciate your support. Follow the Twitter account, follow the Facebook page, And, again, thank you for your support. Thank you for tuning in. And have a great day.